The sutra for this week is Sutra 1.5. Vritayaha panchatayaha klishta aklishta. There are 5 kinds of mental modifications, which are either painful or painless. So he talks about understanding these more as selfish and selfless, but also speaks to how those things that we consider to be most pleasurable, those things that we run after, love is a great example, can end up being the most painful. That, we need to categorize these more in I'm chasing after for selfish motive, or I'm honoring this truly, really, in the space I'm in from a pure, correct intention. So he says, the selfish thoughts ultimately bring pain. For example, to love somebody or something is pleasurable. But many of you have experienced how the very same love brought you a lot of unhappiness, pain, hatred, jealousy, and so on. Why? Because that love was not just a pure love, but was based on some expectation in return. So I take this little bit from India Ari, and in one of her songs, she has a section, couple of lines, and one says, to love is to love without expectation, and to accept without exception. I think this is a very interesting concept, because to accept without exception is a difficult thing to do. And it would be so lovely to be able to do that regularly and give so freely and so honestly and so openly. He says, on the other hand, a thought like anger might bring you pain in the beginning. The anger of a selfless person has no personal motive behind it. Although the anger may cause somebody to feel bad in the beginning, ultimately it will help that person to correct himself or herself and to lead to a better life. So it really is about intention and where something is coming from. If I'm loving in that space of selfishness and I want, why am I not getting it? Then it's gonna eventually bring pain. If I'm loving from that space of I'm taking you just as you are, knowing that we're gonna come together and move apart and come together and move apart as much as we need to in our life, karmically, for our paths. But that I'm gonna take you presently, here now, in the way that you are. At the very end of this, he says, in our daily lives, we always work with these 2 categories of thoughts. Now we know that selfish thoughts will bring misery and selfless ones leave us in peace. How are we to know whether our thoughts are selfless or not? We have to watch carefully. The moment a thought form arises in the mind, we become analysts. This itself is yoga practice, watching our thoughts and analyzing them. So it's this ultra awareness that allows us to understand, why am I doing this? Where is it coming from? Is this positive and healthy and happy, or is this truly ego-driven, which is fear-driven? And am I chasing after something that is eventually going to lead me to pain because of my programming, because of my patterning, because of my ill intent? We'll get into these next time, but the 5 categories are right knowledge, misconception, verbal delusion, sleep, and memory. So I think if you're going to take anything from this week, it's honoring your intention and like he says, watching your thoughts, analyzing them. If something doesn't feel quite right, ask yourself, why am I doing that? What is my intention behind this? Where is it coming from? Shanti.